When I was a kid, I was completely obsessed with this book called Make and Do. I didn't have adults in my life who nurtured my creativity, so I didn't actually make any of these things, but I would just sit around and fantasize about all these things that I could one day make and do. Do you mean I can paint with anything?
Music has always been a very important part of life in my family. Dad instructed me in the essentials of guitar playing, and Mom procured for me every instrument she could get her hands on. There were always mountains of records and tapes of every musical style imaginable to feed the imagination of a young musical mind.
When I first met Carter, he had 2 kids. Several years later, we added a third. From the start of our relationship, we created things. We're always making and doing things together, and we joke that our motto is make and do, because that's what we do as a family.
How to be the perfect girlfriend. Step 1. Relax your standards. While you should endeavor to maintain your femininity, once in a while, let your guard down. Eat like a pig. Slouch around. Or leave the dirty dishes. This way he'll feel comfortable in your presence, and you in his.
I'd played Cajun fiddle since I was a kid, and when I learned that Jaime was a drummer and a Zydeco fan, it made perfect sense that we should start a band and call it the Mudbugs. We sent our demo in to NPR and were immediately asked to play on the show A Prairie Home Companion. It was our big break, and we performed for a radio audience of over 4 million people that weekend.
Up-tempo. Please welcome from Wellington, Kansas, the Mudbugs.
So later that year, we came up with the idea to make customized nutcrackers for everyone in the band as a Christmas gift. And of course, we got Ma Green to help.
Well, they're going to be surprised. You know they're going to treasure these.
I think so.
You know they're going to look back on this be the best times of their lives.
At age 11, my daughter Catherine was inspired to write a song called Christmas in Mexico. Naturally, the entire Green family production team swung into action. We descended on the studio, and this is what we came up with.
Whenever I come up with a wacky idea, Carter almost always says, if you write it, I'll produce it. So Gain Laundry Detergent came out with this contest which said that you had to use the line, I use Gain and I smell like $1,000,000. Well, Gain Guy was born.
I'm running late for work, don't have time for a shower. I reach for a shirt that I know has the power to freshen up my day and ease the pain of everybody who is smelling me along the way. Gain! I use Gain and I smell like $1,000,000.
He knows what's up.
Gain! I use Gain and I smell like $1,000,000. Yeah! When she turned 80, my mom Susan decided it was time to release her first solo album of jazz standards and western swing. We couldn't resist casting Cameron, age 3, as Ragtime Cowboy Joe.
How he sings raggy music to his cattle as he swings back and forward in his saddle on his horse, who is syncopated, gaited, and such a funny meter to the roar of his repeater. How they run when they hear the feller's gun, 'cause the western folks all know he's a highfalutin, scootin', shootin' son of a gun from Arizona, Ragtime Cowboy Joe.
It had always been Dad's dream to visit the land of our ancestors, so off to Ireland we went. To commemorate the trip, I wrote a few verses and set them to this ancient Celtic melody, and I asked our dear friends Aaron and Alan Craddock to come over to the house and help me sing the choruses in Gaelic.
I'll journey to my father's land, on your bright shore one day I'll stand. Share my land, my Ilamar, share my hands, my Ilamar, the ore is slain and doing our share, oh,
Having a kid is pretty fun, usually. It's allowed me to tap into my childhood make and do imagination and create with the family. So our friend Carrie, who owns a bunch of chickens, commissioned the entire family to come up with our individual interpretations of her chickens. It's been really fun to share our artwork with our friends.
One day we were sitting on the back patio thinking of ways to encourage little Cameron to become potty trained, and I was listening to a lot of Weird Al Yankovic at the time, so we decided the best way to do it would be a rap video to encourage toddlers everywhere to kick their dieties to the curb. Lactose intolerance claimed to last week, so I pour one out for the homies. When it's 2 o'clock and I feel a shot, Mama says I got to go sit on the pot. I don't give a flip if it's dark or not, I go anytime, that's what I've been taught.
They see me rolling in my power wheels. They strolling and trying to catch me in my doggies. I don't need no stinking 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 doggies.
So I moved to Wichita 20 years ago, and I felt welcomed right away. I'm really happy to be in a place where if you make and do good work, you'll be supported. Thank you.